So I know it has been quite a while, a few weeks, possibly a month, and that's no excuse, but we are back. And not only that, I saw there were like two new updates for the chapters. So I'm guessing the author is back and he's back to doing regularly monthly chapter releases and everything. So now we are here with chapter 41 of Dark Gathering. And I will have to say, ever since they stepped foot into Kyoto, Keitarou has been going through so much. And then he went through something again in this chapter. I don't necessarily know if it is really good per se. It did save him. It did. But I can't say too much of it, right? Because we all know Keitarou's been through so much since he was cursed, since he was a kid. Both him and Eiko, due to it afflicting the same curse that afflicted him, afflicted her trying to save him. Hence why their hands are the way they are. And that's also what they explain in the chapter, that like because of the curse that's on his hand, it's like a magnet towards all the other ghosts, and pertaining where they're going and the locations they go to, especially if it's a place that's like very spiritual and it's high in density, high in power of attracting different spirits or different curses or anything, depending on the spot. It's also another place where the power of the curse that's in his hand can amplify, because Keitarou already had, prior to being cursed, an affinity towards attracting many spiritual, many supernatural beings towards him. Right, hence why, again, he is cursed. As we remember from last chapter, chapter 40, and even before that, since they entered Kyoto, they dealt with a tunnel, or a dam, my bad. And that ghost took him because, you know, it likes pretty men. And he dealt with that. Then we dealt with the red dress arc. And then we saw what happened to him from there, right? And so even though they dealt with red ghosts and everything, and they managed to put one of the dolls there, which is the Aiko, like I said, Aiko, the face stealer. And it looks like Aiko, if I can remember correctly, Aiko is dealing with another ghost. They're not necessarily brothers, as you guys did say. They're not necessarily brothers, but it looks like they have dealings with each other. So it's only a matter of time until he can break free and then cause a rampage again. So they're not necessarily out the woods. So on top of everything they have to deal with defeating Ai's god, to dealing with the Spectra of Death, who also had an upgrade, to the ghost body snatchers, stealers, you know. Now they gotta deal with the ghosts that the graduates, aka the face stealer one, is also plotting something at the same time, right? And on top of like I said, ever since they got into Kyoto, Keitarou has been suffering. And mind you, this is only like what, day 3 of them being in Kyoto, right? So the chapter starts off basically, they're telling the day, and then, you know, Keitarou wakes up. This is like a day after the whole them dealing with the red dress ghosts and all that stuff, and then putting one of their graduates in place, right? And, you know, they managed to take off before the ghost can actually Keitarou, because it would cause like a hemorrhage or a tumor in his brain, and then try to attach itself to another man to continue the curse cycle, right? So they're, you know, talking about everything that happened over the course of the last few days, and Keitarou is realizing, you know, I feel a lot better. Remember, he no longer has that mark that he got from Castle H. It was removed when with the red dress arc. Now he's fully healed. He only has like a little scratch from when he got punched or something like that in the last chapter. So they decided to go and go get some breakfast. They went to this universe's version of 7-Eleven called 712, right? Yayoi, being your average 9-year-old, wants a bunch of candy, and Keitarou's denying her. So now she's treating Eiko like her mom is just like, you know, dad ain't feeding me type stuff and everything, little something, right? But we all love Yayoi, right? So while that's happening, they leave the store. Yayoi ends up seeing like a road map of the location that they're at. And then she's like, okay, there's this place I want to go, this shrine. And the shrine that they want to go to, she wants to go to before they go to T Tunnel to place one of the other graduates there in place, because they have to go to 5 locations, place the graduates there, and then meet in the middle of Kyoto to deal with Ai's god at the end of the day, to trap him there and save Ai before she is sacrificed, right? And we haven't seen Ai in quite a while again at that too. So they decide to go to this shrine. Now, I'm going to ask you guys, and I can probably also do research on my own, but I'm going to ask you guys because the name does sound very familiar, not just because I read the chapter, but I guess there was just a lot of Abes back in the day. But the tunnel, not the tunnel, but the shrine that they went to was the shrine of Abe no Seimei, who was a, if you would say, a priestess during the Heian period, or Onmuyouji priestess, basically. And it was basically a highly valued job back in those days, because they were able to predict things and, you know, protect people, because back in the day they probably really valued people who, you know, contacted spirits or anything of that sort. It wasn't really demonized all that much. So these people had basically like jobs towards like the shogun and everything. So they were highly valued at the time. So the reason, and they were deemed like public servants. So the reason why Yayoi wanted to go there, because she always wanted to, and she knows that there's a lot of spiritual pressure, bleach, she knows there's a lot of spiritual strength there. So while they're there checking out the shrine and everything that's around them and everything, they come up to the main inn, I guess you would say, of the shrine and everything. And Yayoi is watching Keitarou, and she's actually, you know, really thinking back on, like, you know, ever since meeting him and knowing again his affinity towards why spirits are attracted to him. It's basically the way she talks about it, like he has almost like this cloak around him, right? And it's very enticing to different spirits, curses, whatever you can call it. And the cloak reminds her, it's similar to like the energy of it is similar to that of a god. So it makes me now wonder, when we see Ai's god every now and again, that same cloak she sees around him is probably equivalent or very similar to the one that's wrapped around Keitarou. So it's this energy that they're emitting off of themselves that makes them approachable by others, right? Within that spectral realm of entities, right? So it makes them want to eat them, or take them for their own, or possess them, or curse them, or whatever, until they are dealt with, right? And then she's saying that because that cloak, that's like God's, it when he's in places like a shrine or even a cursed place, it's amplified, it's strengthened, right? And she notes it to like Ai's God, same thing, similar thing. So while she's thinking of this, some random man pops up beside her, and I'm thinking, isn't that the same guy that was working with that old man, basically the body snatcher? He looks similar. But now he's dressed in like a priest's outfit. And even he can see that Keitarou's hand is emitting spiritual energy and stuff, or in other words, he's cursed. He's saying that he's a priest, so he has a little bit of power to be able to see these things, just a little bit, but not as much as Yayoi. And he's even saying that it's like amazing that Yayoi can see such things herself at such a young age. Then he's like, oh, I can see the energy that's in your little toy, your little plushie. And then she's telling him, oh, I caught it. And he's like, you caught it? Oh, okay. All right. Then he asks her, can we make a promise? And he's looking dead at Keitarou. For what reasons? We'll find out. He also sees on Keitarou's hand, the more he's looking at it, and this is like probably the first time since the first chapter or first episode, and that's only if you're not a manga reader at the time, but if you are now, this is the first time that we actually got to see the curse and the face of the curse that's attached to Keitarou's hand. And it looks very similar to, almost, I would say probably similar to the ghost of the last chapter. The red dress ghost, the guy who took out his lying wife and daughter and everything. It looks very similar to that. I'm trying to remember any other ghost that looks very similar to, but I'm guessing that is the same ghost. Not guessing, but it is the same ghost that cursed him, and that's its spiritual remains on him. Then the guy's face went kind of airy, and it's just like, okay, is this guy really? Like the way the chapter goes after this, this is why I have this. I'm on the fence about the actions of this priest, of the temple, and of the shrine, because like what we see into the chapter, which I'm going to get into shortly, it makes me wonder if what his actions are, if it's beneficial or it's actually going to be very harmful towards them, right? So what he does is he gives Yayoi a very worn out book, right? And then when she tries to talk to him again, and then before even that, he tells her that the girl with the star eyes, I wish you can save her. It'll be nice if you can save her, and that he's on Yayoi's side, he's praying for her. And then Yayoi's like, how does he know about I? Because I never said anything about I never even mentioned it. So how does he know about her? Let alone, mind you, it's already suspicious enough that he came specifically to Yayoi and started talking to her. And by the time everything is concluded, he vanishes into thin air. Mind you, there is this small little panel where it's both the shrine of Abe Seimei and then this modern day looking priest side by side, and then he vanishes. So hear me out. This is just my theory. I don't know how true this will be, because he does end up speaking to someone again. I'm wondering if this priest is actually Abe Seimei, who reincarnated and took on the appearance of a young modern day guy, and then he talks to people who has enough spiritual power or something like Yayoi or probably Keitarou. So because the statue and him were side to side, so it makes me wonder if he actually is Abe no Seimei and he's here to actually help, and he's been watching everything that has been happening, or he's the body snatcher of that young guy who was wearing the fedora hat. I'm not too sure. It's either two. But again, he vanishes, and this is where Keitarou and Eiko are like, Yayoi, we saw you talking to yourself. Are you okay? Are you fine? Is something wrong? And then she's like, nah, nothing's wrong. And then she's like, well, she didn't say nothing's wrong, but she tells them that I was speaking to some like ghost priest, and he gave me this book. So they're trying to break down what this book is, because it's so old, some of the words are fading out. So it's a divination book from a priest, and it's telling them like different ways of protection and stuff to just overall keep whoever reads it or whatever, or the priest, safe from basically spiritual attacks from different ghosts, spirits, curses, demons, whatever the case. So it's a very old book, and it looks like it's it's called the Summary of Judgments to Judgments of Divinations. So it was the book written by Abe no Seimei. So again, this makes me think again, at the end of the day, is this Abe no Seimei who's taking on the appearance or took on a host to look like a young guy? Or is it the body snatcher, ghost body snatcher? Because the looks do look kind of similar. And they are planning, or if they haven't already arrived into Kyoto to stop Yayoi and try to capture her or anything of that sort, and they just managed to cross paths for the first time since they made that announcement of their plans few chapters, or basically around episode 24-25 of season 1. So I'm not too sure in that regard. So while they're in the car now, they're traveling back because they're gonna travel to T Tunnel to put one of the guardians there. While they're there, out of the book comes out the two paper dolls that basically can contain like a spirit in there that they use. Then they split down the middle. And then you're always looking at him like, she's looking at Keitarou and she's like, do you cut it? Is it your fault? She's giving him the judgment eyes. Okay, and he's like, this is not his fault. Then this is where it's just, again, like, my boy Keitarou cannot take a break. Mind you, Shikigami papers and all that stuff. So they contain Shikigami, right? And they were ghosts used by the priest or the Onmuyouji, right? Surprisingly enough, Keitarou cannot see ghosts that were used by priests. He can see others, but he can't see these. I don't know if it's because of its special divination power that's bestowed upon them because they were blessed and or cursed by a priest or something of that sort, but he can't see them, right? But we see in a panel where the power from the Shikigami was placed onto his back, and then it showed a panel of where it moved from his back and moved to his chest. So one panel shows where it showed like a crescent moon, and the other showed like a full circle, like a sun. And all it does is remind me of like the ending of Naruto in the Ninja World War, the fourth Ninja World War, where Naruto and Sasuke got the full powers from what's his name, the guy who basically split the Biju into nine different nine tails and all that stuff, and they got the power of him. It's kind of reminding me of that, but like besides the point. So he can't feel that. So again, it's spiritual power blessed by the priest or cursed by the priest, and he can't feel the Shikigami's power at all. So while they're traveling there, right? Before that happens, we see where that priest, that suspicious priest, is speaking to a man, right, who's in glasses. And he's saying that, like, he's leaving everything to Yayoi to deal with, right? Well, it's not the priest, but it's the guy sitting next to him. And he's like, you know, you doing all of this is going to possibly get her, you know, KO'd. By first and foremost, giving her that book. And we don't know what's in that book. The fact that two Shikigami fell out of the book is just the starting of it. But the priest is saying that he was able to see the right hand of Keitarou. He didn't imagine that it was going to be a lot stronger, but then again, they were at the shrine where it's the whatever's around them, the pressure, the spiritual pressure strengthens that curse. So it's just like probably when he's not in the area that's like been blessed or cursed, it's not going to strengthen it or anything of that sort. So he believes that the priest, he believes that Yayoi is going to be able to handle the Shikigami that now is imprinted on Keitarou. So that's why he gave her the book in the first place. And mind you, the Shikigami name are both Zenki and Goki. Now, while they're traveling, about to enter into the T Tunnel, they're talking about the story of T Tunnel, how it was created back in like the 1500s, and it was like an area site between the battles, you know, those warring times of Japan and everything. And now because of what happened during those war times, and it was such a bloody battlefield and everything, there was a lot of incidents, a lot of people, you know, dying and all that stuff. So now when in modern times they're building around that area or above that area, there's been a lot of incidents, modern day incidents, where people can't travel or they come across the ghosts of that time whose their limbs have been severed or they've been burned alive or anything of that sort. And so people will have difficulty trying to travel by car because there's either a lot of traffic or you can't walk up the mountainside or whatever side of the T Tunnel because it's very steep. It's actually hard for people to be able to do hikes and all that stuff. But regardless of the fact, it doesn't seem to be busy that day, so they decide to go under the tunnel. So while they're going under the tunnel, of course there has to be a ghost. It's a big ghost with a long elongated neck, okay, and it has multiple heads that has like a paper with an eye in the middle of it, and it's looking into the cars, and that's hella creepy. Mind you, I think this is probably one of the first and or second times that we've come across where Keitarou cannot see these spirits. Let alone he can't even feel the presence. Remember, whenever he gets close to a ghost, he can feel the presence, even if he can't necessarily see it, but he can feel the presence. Like he'll start doing this. I mean, that did not happen. So it makes you think, is it because of the Shikigami that he's not feeling any Genki and Goki or Tenki? You know who I'm talking about. Is it them doing that, preventing him from feeling the presence of this humongous ghost? And obviously we know with Eiko, she can't see nor feel them unless probably she's already at death's door, and that's the only time she can actually see or feel their presence. So only Yayoi is able to. So while Eiko is still driving and passing by, that ghost decides to pop its head by her window side, and then it stuck something through her head. But remember, all the way back to when they were dealing with Eiko the face stealer, or even a little before that. No, it was around that time. When she decided to make like what do you call it? What's that machine called again where they make stuff out of? She decided to make her own paper dolls and contain Anna in there. So whenever she gets attacked anytime, it goes straight to the doll. So that same long neck ghost tried to stick something through her brain, and so it couldn't fully hurt Eiko. So Eiko said like, I felt something, but it never really like fully attacked her or anything because it went straight to the doll. So the doll got the damage for her. You know, she was thinking smart because she made like 300 boxes at home. So Yayoi is seeing it, and the ghost is wondering why couldn't it attack Eiko? Why did it hurt her? So it went from Eiko, and then it attached itself to their car specifically because the attack did not work the first time. So it decided, okay, since it didn't attack, we're going to attach ourselves to the car and then drop one of the heads, the head chop off, and drop onto Keitarou's lap. He felt it. Now he felt it. And it just makes you, okay, so it probably is the Shikigami that's preventing him, because mind you, they're passing by. Keitarou was not feeling nothing prior to that. It's not until it actually dropped on his lap, the head, that he felt something. And before it can actually attack him, before it could, one of the Shikigamis came out in blinding light, effectively defeating that ghost, right? It felt like it had a whole huge panel. Got the priest hat on, and it got a star. It got like teeth and everything. It bit off the head, and it struck it with a sword and everything, effectively eliminating it. And that's one of the Shikigami. The other one didn't appear because it hasn't been used or destroyed, right? And then Eiko managed to absorb that ghost and trapping it into one of the Shikigami papers or something of that sort. And then that Shikigami that was protecting Keitarou vanished and came back to him. For the whole time, he could not breathe. He was exhausted and everything. And it's just like, it makes me wonder. Now they're out of the T-tunnel and everything. So it makes me wonder, does this Shikigami only come out when his life is in danger? Because he tried to summon it, you know. He tried to summon this particular Shikigami at will, but it wasn't coming out. And it's only one of the two. So instead of thinking of like he got cursed again, it was more like divine power, divine protection over him. Again, reasons as to why the priest back at the temple, back at the shrine, gave Yayoi this book. We don't know the reasons for it. That's why I'm still, at the end of the day, still suspicious if it's that body snatcher ghost, or if it's actually Abe no Seimei, who just took on a younger appearance and is counting on Yayoi to deal with Ai's god. You know, so I'm not too sure in that regard, but the Shikigami are not going to protect Keitarou, I'm going to guess. Or at least one of the two, or until one of them is defeated and the other one jumps in. I don't know. But this makes me go back to thinking something along the lines of what one of you guys said. I don't know which video it was, but I remember you guys saying that like Keitarou gets like a boost in something, like he gets stronger. And it's in this arc that we're going to see it. Like, my boy has been going through it, but now he's going to get a boost, because what happens is, like, after Yayoi is saying that, like, he got protected or something of that sort, and it's kind of like a divine power and all that. So they decide to put down one of the graduates, the bear one, trapped it there. So now they have 3 of the 5 locations locked down. So they're now heading back. And while Keitarou is thinking about everything that has transpired for the past 3 days since they came to Kyoto, he's like, that's not enough though. So I'm thinking either the Shikigami are kind of speaking through him, or he's frustrated about everything that's happened to him so far, and he feels like he's weak enough. But we do have where Eiko tries to cheer him up, and she's like, I'm just really happy, you know, you're my partner, you're my boyfriend. And then they go off and the chapter ends from there. So I don't know if that's coming from him or the Shikigami. I'm not too sure, because it's still kind of up in the air. Again, I'm still not truly trustful towards that priest, because I don't know what his real identity and what his real objective is at the end of the day for giving that book to Yayoi. But we'll find out in future chapters. So guys, if you read chapter 41 of Dark Gathering, please do tell me in the comment section below on how you felt about this chapter. What are your, I wouldn't even say predictions, but your, I guess predictions, but also your understanding of this chapter, what happened, what transpired, the book, the shrine they went to, if that is actually Abe no Seimei or if it's the body snatcher, what is contained in that book. Is Keitarou going to get a upgrade, or is he being commanded by the Shikigami? We don't know, but I would love to hear you guys' comments. The links are in the description box, so you guys go check that out. And I'm Kimmy-chan, and I'll see you guys later. Bye. With